Hello students, my name is Niyati Said and thanks for watching Wikipedia word videos. My topic for the presentation is the 8th section of the chapter Chemical Control and Coordination. In this section of presentation, we'll be studying about the pineal gland. Pineal gland is a small endocrine gland which is present in vertebrate brain. Where is it present? It is present in the vertebrate brain. You can say that it is situated on the dorsal side of the forebrain. I have already taught you the three parts of brain, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So this pineal gland, it is present on the dorsal side of the forebrain, which protrudes from the roof of the third ventricle, which we call it as epithalamus. Please refer to my presentation on brain for the better understanding. Okay. So pineal gland is a small endocrine gland which is present in the vertebrate brain. It is a small rounded body which consists of pineal cells and some supporting glial cells. Now, what are the physical characteristics of pineal gland? Color is reddish gray, okay, and it is larger in children but shrinks with the onset at puberty. That means when a child enters the age of puberty, it shrinks, okay, but it is larger in case of children. That means it is very active during childhood days also, okay. Now in adults it weighs a bit more than 0.1 gram and is about 0.8 centimeter long, okay, and it lacks a blood-brain barrier, therefore it receives blood, oxygen and nutrients through a rich vascular network, okay. Now pineal gland is also known as biological clock, okay. What it is called as? It is also called as biological clock. You have probably heard of this gland being the third eye, a mystical chakra point which resides right in the middle of your eyebrows. It turns out these ideas are not too far off. It is pine cone shaped endocrine gland which is present in the middle of the brain and at the same level as the eyes. What does the pineal gland do, students? How you think, how you feel every day, it depends on the pineal gland. As pineal gland is a producer of the hormone melatonin. Don't get confused with the melanin. So as a producer of the hormone melatonin, the quality and the duration of your sleep relies on how well it produces this hormone. This tiny organ regulates your daily and seasonal circadian rhythms. The sleep and wake up cycles of humans are also determined by this hormone level. Okay, so you can say that it is a biological clock. It is present in the epiphyseal region. That's why it is also known as epiphysis cerebri. Okay, that's the reason because this pineal gland, it is present in the vertebrate brain, and that's the reason it's known as epiphysis cerebri. This is another name of pineal gland. It somewhat resembles a tiny pine cone. That's why its name is conarium. And as I have told you, the pineal gland is also known as third eye. Okay, So these are the synonyms of the pineal gland, which is present in the vertebrate brain. Okay. See, as I have told you that it resembles a tiny pine cone, and hence its name is pineal gland. So its shape resembles a tiny pine cone, and hence its name is pineal gland. Now where is it present? Pineal gland, as I have told you, that it is present in the near the third ventricle, which is also known as epithalamus. Okay, so as you can see that this is a small rounded body which consists of pineal cells and supporting glial cell. This is your pineal gland. Okay, which is situated on the dorsal side of the forebrain, and it protrudes from the roof of the third ventricle, which is known as epithalamus. See, this is hypothalamus, this is pituitary, this is optic chiasma, and which I have already taught you in detail in my previous sections of the presentation. So please refer to that presentations also for the better understanding. Okay. So pineal gland, it is stimulated by nerves from eyes. It is attached to the roof of the third ventricle of the brain beneath the posterior end of the corpus callosum. See, this is corpus callosum, and it is present beneath the posterior end of the corpus callosum. So this is corpus callosum, and this is the posterior end of the corpus callosum, and it is present just beneath to it, and this is your pineal gland. Unlike much of the rest of the brain, pineal gland is not isolated from the body by the blood-brain barrier system. Okay. Now, what are the functions of the pineal gland? As I have told you that it secretes a hormone which is known as melatonin, but please don't get confused with the melanin. Okay, it is completely different. It produces melatonin. It is a hormone that affects the modulation of wake up and sleep patterns and photoperiodic functions such as seasonal functions. It is as I have told you that pineal gland, it is located near the center of the brain between the two hemispheres, tucked into a groove where the two rounded thalamic bodies join, which I have already shown you in the figure. Okay, so the function of a pineal gland is that it secretes melatonin, and its secretion increases in dim light and it decreases in the bright light that rises from the evening and through night and drops to low around noontime. Okay, and it performs following functions such as it regulates diurnal rhythm. Diurnal rhythm means 24-hour rhythm of our body, and it acts as a kind of biological clock. For example, it helps in maintaining the normal rhythm of sleep and wake up cycle and body temperature. So this is the first function of the pineal gland. Now the second function is that it influences body metabolism and menstrual cycle and defense capability in case of females. Another function of pineal gland is that it lightens skin color, that is pigmentation, because it secretes a hormone known as melatonin. And the fourth function of pineal gland is that it may inhibit sexual maturation in some mammals. Okay, so these are the functions of the pineal gland. Now, how does it help in reproduction? Because it blocks the secretion of gonadotropins, that is luteinizing hormone, that is LH, and FSH, that is follicular stimulating hormone, from anterior pituitary gland. Okay, students, don't worry. I'll be teaching you about these two hormones, LH and FSH, in my next to next section of the presentation, when I'll be teaching you about the ovaries and testes. Okay. So, pineal gland, it blocks the secretion of gonadotropin, such as luteinizing hormone, and FSH, that is follicular stimulating hormone, from anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Okay, these hormones, they help in proper development and functioning of ovaries and testes. Okay, now, as I said, that melatonin, it secretes a hormone known as melatonin. Okay, see, this is your pituitary gland, and it is a melatonin. It helps in the release of the melatonin hormone. And melatonin hormone, as I said, that its secretion increases in dim light, but it decreases in the bright light. It rises from the evening and through night, and it drops to the low around noon time. Okay, so this is what it has shown here. It is special because its secretion is dictated by the light, because as I have told you that its secretion increases in dim light. Okay, and its secretion decreases in bright light. That means you can say that its secretion rises from evening and through night, but it drops to low around noon time. Okay, so you can say that melatonin is special because its secretion is dictated by light, or it is regulated by light. See, these are the stages which when you take a sleeping pill or without sleeping pill. Okay, so stage 1 is the transition between sleep and wakefulness, when you are half sleep and half awake. Okay, then that stage is known as stage 1, which is a transition between sleep and wakefulness. Now the second stage is body temperature and heart rate, they begin to decrease as you fall asleep. Okay, and the third stage is when the transition between light sleep and deep sleep takes place. Okay, when you are in a deep slumber and light sleep, then that stage is known as third stage. Okay, so these are the three stages of the normal sleep cycle. Okay, now the fourth stage is deeper sleep, when you are in deep slumber. Okay, and the fifth stage is REM sleep. It is that stage where most of the dreaming occurs. Sleeping pill, they help you fall asleep but will not help you get to stage 5. That means when you take sleeping pills, you will never see dreams during your sleep, because stage 5, that is REM sleep, will not be attained when you take or when you intake sleeping pills. Okay, now melatonin versus time. See, when you draw melatonin on y-axis and x-axis time of the day, then you can see that pineal gland, it begins producing melatonin in the evening, because I told you that melatonin secretion increases in dim light and decreases in the bright light. Okay, or you can say that it rises from the evening and through night, and it drops to low around noon time. So the pineal gland, it begins producing melatonin in the evening time. Melatonin level peak in the middle of the night. It reaches here, that is 70 picogram per ml, and then it reaches or you can say that melatonin level, it declines to low daytime amount. Okay, so this is how melatonin versus time graph takes place. Okay, when you plot time here in this axis and melatonin on this axis. Okay, now melatonin versus age. If you plot melatonin on this axis and age on this axis, then you'll see that when a human is a newborn, okay, then newborn produces minimal melatonin. Melatonin peak reaches in early childhood stage, okay, and then when the puberty age is attained, it occurs as a melatonin declines. And then melatonin, it continues to decline in the middle stage. When you reach the age of 40 or 50, okay, then melatonin, it continues to decline in the middle stage. And then older people, they produce negligible amount of melatonin. So this is how the melatonin versus age graph is all about. Okay. Now, as I told you that its function is to regulate diurnal rhythm of our body, and it acts as a kind of biological clock. That means it helps in maintaining the normal rhythm of sleep-wake cycle and body temperature. So that is known as circadian rhythm. Okay, now circadian rhythm in humans. Circadian rhythms, they are physical, they are mental, and they are behavioral changes that follow a roughly 24-hour cycle, which we call it as diurnal cycle, that responds primarily to light and darkness in an organism environment. Okay, so this is the circadian rhythm in humans. See, at 2 a.m. you are in the deepest sleep. Then 4:30, lowest body temperature, because it regulates, as I told you, that it regulates or it maintains normal rhythm of the sleep wake up cycle and body temperature. So on 4:30, at 4:30 a.m. lowest body temperature is noted, and in at 6 a.m. this is the marginal, you can say, and 6:45 a.m. sharpest blood pressure rise at this a.m. and 7:30 a.m. melatonin secretion, it stops, and then at 10 a.m. highest alertness is there, and in after 12 p.m., that is 2:30 p.m., best coordination is seen, and at 3:30 p.m. fastest reaction time is seen, and at 5 p.m. greatest cardiovascular efficiency and muscle strength is seen, and at 6:30 p.m. highest blood pressure is noted, at 7 p.m. highest body temperature is noted, and at 9 p.m. melatonin secretion again starts, and at 7:30 a.m. melatonin secretion, it stops. That means in the night at 9 p.m. it secretions starts, because I have told you that melatonin secretion increases in dim light and decreases in the bright light, or you can say that it rises from the evening and through night it drops to low around noon time. Okay, so this is the circadian rhythm, which is physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow a roughly 24-hour cycle, and that responds primarily to light and darkness in an organism environment. Biological clock and circadian cycle, are they same? No, they are related but not same. Our biological clock, it drives our circadian rhythm. Okay, our biological clock means pineal gland. It drives our circadian rhythm, which is a 24-hour rhythm of our body. Okay, and which is regulated by biological clock, which is known as pineal gland, students. Now, why we call biological clock? Why do we call pineal gland a biological clock? A biological clock, it controls circadian rhythms, and they are groupings of interacting molecules in the cell throughout the body. A master clock in the brain, it coordinates all the body clocks so that they are in the sync. Okay, that's the reason it is known as biological clock. Okay, now what do you mean by master clock? The master clock is the one that controls circadian rhythm, and it consists of a group of nerve cells in the brain called as suprachiasmatic nucleus, which I have already taught you in detail when I taught you about the brain. So please refer to that presentation. So this is SCN, that is suprachiasmatic nucleus. It contains about 20,000 nerve cells, and it is located in the hypothalamus area, an area of the brain just above where optic nerves from the eye they cross, and that's why its name is suprachiasmatic. Okay, now there are certain disorders related to pineal gland, and the first disorder is jet lag. Jet lag occurs when travelers they suffer from disrupted circadian rhythm when you pass through different time zones. For example, you have come from US to India. Okay, that means your circadian rhythm has been disrupted. When you pass through different time zones, your body clock will be different from your wristwatch. For example, if you fly in an aeroplane from California to New York, you lose 3 hours of time. So when you wake up at 7 a.m., your body still thinks that it is 4 a.m. only. And it makes you feel groggy and disoriented. Your body clock will eventually reset itself, but this often takes a few days, and that disorder is known as jet lag, when you travel from different time zone to different time zone. Now the second disorder is delayed circadian rhythm disorder, that is DCR. It constitutes a mismatch between you external and the internal clock. Students, your internal clock, it runs always slower than the normal circadian rhythm, which is 24-hour periods. So your body doesn't wake up until later in the morning or day. When it's time to wake up, your body clock believes it's only midnight and is still producing a nighttime hormones, which I have already taught you. Okay, so this kind of disorder is known as delayed circadian rhythm disorder. Delayed sleep is syndrome. It is common in many adolescents and college students that shift the body clock, so it is hard to fall asleep at the night. As a result, you run. So this is your delayed circadian rhythm disorder. Now the symptoms of the delayed circadian rhythm disorder, that is DCR, is that you feel difficulty falling and staying asleep, or late night insomnia, lack of sleep, a general lack of energy in the morning. These are the symptoms of the DCR disorder. An increase of energy, mood in the evening or late at night. And you feel difficulty concentrating, being alert, or accomplishing tasks. Some DCR sufferers they oversleep and have trouble getting up. Now comes another disorder, and that is known as advanced circadian rhythm disorder, that is ACR. It is just opposite to DCR. In what happens in the DCR, your internal body clock it always runs slower than the normal circadian rhythm, but here in ACR it is just opposite. Your internal body clock is running faster than the normal circadian rhythm. As a result, what happens? This is what it takes place. Now, what are the symptoms? Early morning awakening. You wake up early in the morning, and that's the reason it is called as early morning insomnia. Second symptom is that inconsistent sleep with one or more awake period during the night. Lack of energy during the day, and you feel tired in the early afternoon or evening. Alertness and ability to function may also be diminished. Some ACR sufferers, they may not notice a sleep problem, but they lose energy and they feel tired or down in the afternoon or evening time. So these are the symptoms of ACR, which is just opposite to DCR. Now it is seen that calcification of pineal gland also takes place. Calcification means um, deposition of fluoride. Okay, so this calcification process is caused by constant exposure to substances like fluoride, which help build up in the body over time, such as use of the toothpaste, public water systems, hormones, food additives, excess sugar and sweeteners in your diet, or even regular exposure to cell phone has been linked to the phenomena of calcifying the pineal gland, and then the disorders of the pineal gland starts. Okay, now effects of the melatonin. As I have told you that it pineal gland, it secretes a hormone which is known as melatonin. So the lack of the melatonin, it causes early puberty. As you can see, beard has grown in a very small child. So lack of the melatonin, it causes early puberty. So this was all about the pineal gland. In my next section of the presentation, we'll be studying about the adrenal gland. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Edipedia Word videos.